I'm Amy Stewart. This is Dear Miss Kopp, the 6th book in the Kopp Sisters series. These books are based on the real life of 3 sisters, Constance, Norma, and Fleurette Kopp. But the truth is, I don't know much about what the Kopps were actually up to during World War I. I have one hint, one sentence in fact, about what Constance did during the war. So in this book, I did as much as I could with that one hint. But because I have no idea what Norma and Fleurette were doing, I was free to make it up. And I decided to split the sisters up for this book and to send each of them to do different things that women might have done during the war. So this novel is told through letters between the 3 sisters. I've always loved books of letters like Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Society, Daddy Longlegs, 84 Charing Cross Road, and of course, that's how people actually stayed in touch during World War I. I read a lot of collections of women's wartime letters and diaries as inspiration for this book. Now, if you've read the other Kopp sisters novels, you know that the middle sister Norma has an interest in messenger pigeons that's entirely fictional, but it is very particular to her. And in this novel, her love of carrier pigeons finally pays off. The Army Signal Corps really did have a pigeon messaging service. As far as I know, there were no women working in that unit, but there were women serving as switchboard operators in the Signal Corps. So I figured it was at least plausible that one woman could find her way into the pigeon unit, and that woman is Norma. Now, it just so happens that they set up their base of operations in a small village in France. So of course, I had to make not one, but 2 really tough research trips to this idyllic village in the French countryside. I met a man who collects artifacts from the American service in World War I, and I toured the abandoned old fort that once housed the pigeon program. I even met some French-speaking goats that Norma would have passed on her way to work. In this book, I have Fleurette touring with the army camps in the United States with real-life vaudeville singer May Ward, who you might remember from Miss Kopp's Midnight Confessions. In my version of events, Fleurette runs into some trouble that was actually quite common for women at that time. The War Department was very concerned that young women who lived near the army camps would lead soldiers astray. Women were seen as the threat to good military order, and they were seen as a health hazard because they could transmit what was then called social diseases, which would weaken the troops and hurt our ability to win the war. Now let's be clear, men with social diseases were treated and released, but women were locked up, sometimes for years and sometimes for decades, under a program called the American Plan that continued into the 1950s. So you're going to learn a little about that in this book. For Constance's part, I'm just going to give you a hint. What I know is that she served her country doing some kind of intelligence work during World War I. So I decided to put her at the Bureau of Investigation, which was the early name for the FBI. And I had a personal motive for wanting to do that. My great-grandfather, William Allen, served as interim director of the FBI for about 6 months in 1919. Honestly, I just wanted a chance for Constance to meet my great-grandfather. You'll be able to read the historical notes at the back of this book to see what's real and what's fiction. And there's a lot more information on my website. I also do Skype chats with book clubs, so feel free to take a look at all of that and get in touch with me. I hope you enjoy the book, and stay tuned. There's a lot more to come.